Okay. Hey guys. Sorry, we always wait like 10 minutes while people get out of class. Welcome to week 3. This is the Hackathon workshop. We were pretty pumped about this one. So there's a bunch of links up on the screen right now. So first one's obviously the Google Cloud credit. The second one is with AI, and you'll see what that is in a minute. And then we have Microsoft Azure sign up too. But those ones are super chill. We'll get to them and I'll walk you through them and all that good stuff. The last one is just like a little code for the actual code that we'd be running through. It's not long at all. There's not going to be a crap ton of coding in this workshop. That's the whole point of these APIs. So just download that and there's a picture, but you guys can take whatever pictures you want and try them out and test them. So yeah, we're going to get started. Does everybody have these links? We have them on the board over here if you miss them or whatever. And I can always just jump back. Let us know if you have any questions. Like, just shout out and we'll totally help you out, okay? All right.
And in case it wasn't clear, this is all one line. There's obviously didn't fit in one line on the board.
Yeah. All right, so, yeah. Hello. Glad that you guys could make it. We're pretty pumped about this one, so we're just going to go right into it. So, firstly, we're going to be dealing with REST APIs today. So, if any of you, when I first came to UCI and when I was in community college, I did not know what a REST API was, and it's totally fine if you don't know what it is. If you take one of the upper division CS classes, you'll learn about all different types of networking. REST APIs are probably the easiest ones to work with. Like they have 4 different commands to them, or 5, or 4 that are useful, 1 that we don't really care about. But yeah. So an API stands for an application platform interface, and REST kind of means, I'm not 100% sure what that stands for, but it's an acronym for something.
Representational something state transfer.
Yep.
That
sounds correct.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So we're actually going to be using these REST APIs that have been supplied to us by Azure, with AI, and Google. So back in the day, people, whenever they wanted information from companies, they'd have to go in and scrape their website, like run through their web page, pull stuff out. Companies don't like that. Because like a bunch of people, if you have a bunch of bots running or you doing it yourself, you're going to like kill their servers. So they're like, hey, why don't we make a service that lets people like use our services and charge them a bunch of money for it? Hence, we have an API. So they have an application and a bunch of code and like an access to their services, and they can control how people access them, what they have access to, instead of a bunch of people like going in and trying to get it themselves and probably messing things up. So how REST works, like I said, there's 5 different commands. There's a get, post, put, and delete. And there's also something called a patch. I've literally never used it, so I'm not sure exactly what it does. You can probably just look it up. So a get request is saying like, hey, I'm going to use this URL, this API, and I want you to get stuff for me with these parameters. So when we're using our Google Cloud thing, we're going to be doing handwriting detection. We're going to give them a picture and say, hey, give me all the words from this image in text and respond back to me. A post request is kind of saying, put this stuff in your database and give me a response that it's done. A put request is kind of the same thing, except you don't have a response back. And delete is like, hey, delete some stuff. So, like I said, there's 5 different commands for this thing. We'll mostly be doing get requests because we don't want them to do anything else. So how it comes back. So once we've like sent our picture or whatever to the API, it's going to give us a response back, and that normally comes back as JSON. So if any of you guys have worked with Python dictionaries before, like it has like a key and a value, that's pretty much what JSON is. It's super easy to work with. You can just say like the name of the response and then the key, and it gives you the value, or you can cycle through all the values, cycle through all the keys. It's really nice to work with. So if you are ever programming in like some of the upper level division like CS classes, do JSON stuff. You can do XML if you really want, but that's pain that I wouldn't wish on anyone. So JSON is the way. And I have another thing here for stateless. So stateless just means that if I hit the request and Ryan over here hits the request, Ryan's request does not get affected by mine. So they're all completely independent. So multiple people can use the same like URL that we're going to use here in a minute and send different pictures, and then nothing affects anything. So they're all completely isolated requests, which is kind of cool. But yeah, so this is how you'd make money as a company, or one way, is to make a really nice REST API and charge them a prescription fee, and you get to use it that way. All right. So we're going to move on to, this is one of the APIs we're working with today. It's going to be using Google Cloud Vision API. So what we're going to be doing is we have a picture for you guys to use on that last link, whatever. You're going to send up a picture, and it's actually going to extract the handwritten notes from the image. So whatever handwriting you might have, mine is terrible. If you have like a doctor's handwriting, it's somehow going to pull that out. It's different from like taking a scanned image and pulling like the actual printed text. It's a little bit easier because it's all uniform. Handwriting is really messed up. Like A's look like E's. My @ symbol you'll see in a minute looks like an E. So it's kind of cool how they've done this. And we can utilize the power of Google Cloud stuff and like all their machine learning stuff in like 6 lines of code. So at a hackathon, this would be really simple and easy to use for like a really cool like feature to your app or whatever, right? So I'm going to walk you guys through this. So Google Cloud Setup is not the most simple thing in the universe, and their documentation isn't the most awesome. You'll normally find what you need, but it takes a minute. Like they'll have like random links that say here, and that's where you find your answer. So I'm going to walk you through this. And if you guys need the presentation after this, we're going to post everything with our code. So, and like I said, any questions you might have, I'll just ask. So we're going to walk through this right now, and then we're going to carry on the presentation with the other ones. This one probably takes the longest. The other ones take like 3 seconds. So does everybody have the Google Cloud like login? You can get to the console? Yeah? Okay. So I'm going to do the exact same thing and walk you through one. So if you don't know how to do that, you're going to go just Google Cloud Console. Okay, this is probably the first link over here. So I've logged in already. There's me over here. So this little view right here, this is the current project that you're working on. So the first thing we're going to do is create a new project, right? So we're going to click here, and we're going to say New Project right here at the top. I have a lot of them. Sorry about that. Okay. So once we hit New Project, it's going to ask for a project name. We'll call this, I don't know, we'll call it Hack the Hackathon. I probably have one already for testing, so I'm going to call this number 2. The billing account, so you get to choose a bunch of them. So when you signed up for that thing, you were given an account with free credit. Just select whichever one is in your downloads, like the drop-down menu. If anybody has problems with that, let us know. I have like free credit from a previous hackathon I was at, so I'm going to select my student innovator February one, and that still has a bit of money in it. Does anybody get to this point? Everybody good? They all have a select for that billing account? Okay.
Where's the new project link? Sorry.
Oh yeah, let me go back. So up at the top here, it says New Project, and you just click that, and it takes you to this page. Everybody okay?
If you haven't signed up for the Google Cloud credits, you can also go here if you came in late or see this part. But you should be able to get to that once you log in to Google Cloud Platform. Yeah.
So it's only these 3 pieces that you put in here. The organization is taking it from my like UCI ID that I logged in with. So I'm just going to leave that how it is. And then we hit create. Oh, I'm going to just hit the number 2. Okay. So now it's going to be creating this project, and it'll let me know once that's done. And then we have a little bit more like setup to do. So at a hackathon, I know that Google like sponsors a lot of them. And if you use Google Cloud services and stuff, you get to like get entered into like their prizes. They normally have one at every hackathon. You normally like win like a Google Home or whatever. So we figured having a Google Cloud service would be pretty awesome. And they're not bad. Like the design of their stuff is kind of confusing, and their documentation is garbage, but their services are really easy to use. So now that this project is created, now when you click down on this little project thing, you should have the new project right there at the top.
What is location?
Location?
Yeah.
I think that's just kind of where we are. Like, because so depending on where you are will depend on which servers they hit first. So if you're in Germany, you do not want to be using the servers in America. They kind of want to say, you're in America, let's build this new project closest to you. Does it ask you for the location there? It kind of like fills it in for you, right?
It's a new, like the new project file.
Yeah. Does it kind of fill in the location for you?
You say no organization.
Yeah. Organization. Yeah, don't worry. I use my UCI ID, and it kind of pulls it from that. You can say no organization if you want. Mine just kind of filled it in for me. All right. Is everybody at this point that the new project's created? Yeah?
Wait, one question. Does the ID have to be of a similar name to your project name?
No, it could be anything that you like.
Anything you want. The one thing is that you cannot change it. So once you've created like the Hackathon name, that is like set. You're going to have to build a new project and move stuff over if you want to change the name, which is a pain in the ass. So you're going to have to think about it. But this is just a whatever project. Okay, so once this is done, we're going to click on it, and it's going to take us to our like overview page for this project, right? Obviously, nothing's activated yet, and all this kind of stuff. What I am going to do, so the next thing we're going to do is now we're going to activate our Google Vision. So to use the APIs, we need to enable them. So the first thing, we're going to go to like API overview. See this right here? Click on that guy. And it's going to take you to this kind of thing. This, when we have APIs enabled, we're going to have all this, like it's going to show you when people have been hitting it and using it and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to go enable APIs and services. And we're going to look for Cloud Vision. This guy. So once you have that, just click on it. And then just go enable. And then that one's good to go. And this takes like a second. So just give it like a second. Okay, good to go. How's everybody doing? Everybody at this point? Yeah, are we good? Okay. So the next thing, which they don't tell you and that you're going to need, is called a service account. So I'll explain that in like the simplest terms. A service account is like a user that's outside of Google Cloud that we can access this API from anywhere. I know that sounds really confusing, but it's like if I am running it on a website somewhere else, I'm going to need a service account to use the API. So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to create one and create like a credential, and it's going to be in a file. So I'll show you how to do that. So on this navigation menu, we just click right here. And you're going to go down to this admin, I am an admin, and this thing called service accounts. Everybody got that? Yeah. Okay. So once you're there, click on that guy. And obviously there's no service accounts yet that I've created for this. So now we're going to go create service account. Cool. You can call this whatever you want. I'm just going to call it service account 1. Just like that. And you can give it a description, but it really doesn't matter. Cool. Everybody there? Yeah? Okay. So hit create service account. And now it's going to ask for a role. Because this has got access to our entire project, we need to give it a role as an owner. Right here. So full access to all resources. So click on that guy, and then you're good to go. I think, was there any more? Yeah, continue as role as owner, continue. Okay. And then see this bottom option? We need this. So this is your private key. This is kind of like for security and that no one else can use this API, because obviously if you having a billing account attached to the API and it's charging you all the time, you don't want people to constantly hit it if they don't have permission to do it, right? Otherwise, it's going to charge you a shit ton of money the whole time. So the next thing we're going to do is go create key. And we want it in JSON format. So it's going to be like a key value pair with your security key and all your security stuff, and it's going to come in a file. So we're just going to create and then download that. So create. And then you'll see this little file gets downloaded to your computer. So it says, this little JSON file allows a lot of people to use all your resources, so be careful where you put it. Don't like put it in GitHub. GitHub will crap on you for that. We actually got hacked like the other day. We had like a security code in GitHub, and someone put like crypto mining on our project. Yeah. It's a bitch to close down, so just don't try.
Like errors every time that you open it.
So whenever you post code, just a security thing, always comment out where it says like subscription key or security key or anything like that. Same with this file.
Not even comment out, just like
delete it.
Ignore it and don't show it.
Yeah.
It should not be in there. Yeah.
Where do I save it to?
Anywhere, because you're just going to be uploading it to a Colab notebook in a second. So anywhere that you feel you want to store the file, it's just a JSON file. So download's fine. It's up to you.
Yeah, wherever you know where it is, because we're going to be uploading it here in a minute.
The services that we're about, the things we're about to do, can you do this using Amazon Web Services?
Oh yeah.
They have different ones.
Is that also free?
You get some credit for those too, up to a limit. I think Amazon might even be easier about giving more money credit-wise. We've just had experience with the Google Cloud Platform with the handwriting thing, so we decided to go with that. But yeah, you can definitely look into Amazon AWS services. They have a ton to.
Yeah, there's mostly like 3 competing clouds. There's IBM Cloud, Google Cloud, and Azure. And those are the 3 big ones. Obviously, there's smaller ones, but they all have a wide range of services. And you can probably look up which ones do a lot of things. Like they all do like the baseline stuff, but a lot of them do like weirder things. And you'll see like Google Cloud, the Vision API, doesn't do some of the stuff that Azure does. So that's why we chose to do Azure today. Google's really cool because firstly we have experience with it, and a lot of hackathons are sponsored by Google. And if you just use their services, you're like automatically entered into one of their contests. So we figured Google would be a good one to add to the list. Okay, so now that we've downloaded this private key, we need to make sure that we know where it is, and we're good to go. So close that warning, and then we're just going to hit done, and we should be solid. So,
What was the service account permissions that you said?
oh, it's owner.
Okay.
Yeah, so it needs to have access to everything. So let's go back. We should be good now. So we're just going to go back to our home. We want to go to our API overview. Yes, yeah, create key. We want to go to our API overview. And now on the side here, there's going to be dashboard, library, and credentials. We want to click on credentials and make sure that that service account is there. Yeah, it's automatically populated for you, but just make sure, because now that our service account and credential key is associated with our APIs, we're good to go. And that's all the setup. I'm sorry that was such a pain in the ass. Honestly, that took me like 6 hours in a hackathon once. So, yeah, because it doesn't explain anything to you, okay? So now that we have that, we're kind of good to go.
So where did you go from the home dashboard?
Dashboard?
So home, and you click on the APIs menu. There was,
Yeah.
I think is it like go to APIs
Yeah.
or something?
Yeah, it's like go to APIs overview.
All right.
And then on the side here is going to have credentials. Yeah.
It should be there.
Yeah.
You would think by downloading the file is probably there. So
Once we're there, what do we do?
We are now good. Now we can actually use code that we write to use our API. And now and that's what we're going to do next. So is everybody past this point? Everybody okay? That was like the worst amount of setup ever, but that's done now.
yeah, should be good.
Good to go? Okay. So next thing we're going to do is go to Colab. Did everybody use Colab before? Okay. Colab, have you ever used Jupyter Notebooks before?
No.
Okay, Jupyter Notebook's like a online Python interpreter. So yeah, you can use it for whatever. You can like do C++ in there if you really want to have horrible time doing that. It's just a really easy way to do prototyping and testing stuff without it being actually on your computer. So a lot of like libraries and stuff that your computer and someone else's computer might have, Colab has everything and runs on Google services. So you can use their GPUs for free, and they give you 12 gigs of RAM. Like my older computer can't run that stuff, so Google Colab is super nice. So to get to Google Colab, yeah.
So Colab and Jupyter Notebook are actually that same thing.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's online Jupyter Notebook.
Yeah.
And to get the file that we're going to be using, we wrote some basic stuff so you guys don't have to type out a bunch of like useless helper functions. Go here. You should have the Jupyter Notebook file and the picture of handwriting. That was just provided by us to test the handwriting thing. But you can also do your own handwriting pictures if you want.
Yeah, so I'm going to help you do that. So how to get to Google Colab, you probably just Google it. Just like that. It should be the first link up at the top, right here. And it should bring you to this. It might ask you to sign in, but you should be good to go after that. Does everybody have the file from this bit little link? Let me pull up the link so you guys can get it one more time. So it's the number 4. Go to this like little shortened link or whatever, and there's going to be a Python notebook file and a picture. So download that Python notebook file and the picture, and then I'll show you what we're going to do with it here in a minute. Let me know when you guys kind of have it all. It should take you like a few seconds to download. Okay, everybody kind of got it?
Yeah, it's also up here too.
Yeah.
So this should
Okay.
be fine.
So next we're going to go to Colab. I downloaded the file earlier, so now we're going to go to this upload thing. So it normally starts off like this. So you're going to go upload over here, and then go choose a file. This. And it's going to bring up this. So now it's going to go downloads, and Hack the Hackathon, that's the one that you just downloaded, and press open. And here's the code now we're going to be using today. So make sure that once you've at this point, you want to hit connect right here, and it's just going to connect your notebook to the servers, and you should be good to go.
Can everybody read that in the back? Do you guys need it a little bit bigger, text-wise?
It's in dark mode. Huh?
Maybe a little bit bigger.
Okay.
Bigger?
Can you just do command plus?
If you click Control Command F, that'll put you in full screen, and then that will have no space.
That works.
And then if you go to View,
Could you change the background to white?
Shift
Yes.
Command F.
Uh-huh. But dude, the dark theme's so nice. Okay. That a little bit better for everybody? Okay. So now that we've connected, we should see this little like tick up at the top. Python 3, Google Compute Engine stuff. You can see you've got 12 gigs of RAM running, and you have 50 gigs to use. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to upload that file, that credentials file that we had, right? So if you click on this little like tab thing on the side, click on that guy and click Files. So I technically have one already, so I'm just going to delete that. So you should have this, right? Everybody there? Okay. So we're going to click Upload, and then we're going to take that JSON file that we downloaded, our credentials file, that from our service account, and just click Open. Yeah, this is just saying that when your Colab shuts down, all the files you uploaded will get deleted. So you don't need to worry about security and all that kind of stuff. They get deleted instantly when this thing shuts down. Okay. So you should have this right there now.
When you upload these files, should they be within the sample data folder or outside of that?
I would put them outside. You could put them whatever, but honestly, your working directory is this contents thing. So if you just put the name of it, it should, because it's working from this directory. So putting it in the sample directory, you could put it in there, but then you have to if you want to get it, you have to navigate to it.
More work for no real payoff. So.
Okay. Has everybody uploaded the file?
No. Sorry.
No, you're fine, man. You're fine.
No, because like from past experience, if I miss one step, I fall behind a lot.
No, you're good. This is why we're at a workshop, right? You want to jump in? Okay.
So I opened the
What's up, buddy?
Would you mind just quickly explaining what the JSON is that we got from the...
Right. So the JSON is a credentials file. It's got like a key value in it. It's kind of like your password for the API and for your Google Cloud stuff, but just way more encrypted. So it's an encrypted password that was created when you made that service account, so that anyone, only if they have this password security file, can use the APIs. Because we don't want everyone to use it. We only, when you have this like credentials file, we're good to go. Okay.
Just press X on the file.
Yeah, I know. I want to make sure that. Okay.
How do I upload the JSON?
Oh, okay.
I can go ahead. Do you upload it?
Yeah, I'm trying to upload it, but
Okay.
doesn't have an option.
Okay, so you want to upload first the iPad, then the notebook. You did? Okay, so then you go.
Okay. Next, guys, we're gonna, while everybody's, I know we got a few little things here, but I'm gonna move on and kind of start actually telling the Google environment to use that file, right? So first thing we're gonna do is go os dot environ. So this is saying use your OS and create a new environment object, right? We're gonna say like that, and then it's called Google, all uppercase, Google application credentials. Okay, and then we're just going to give it the path of the file that we just uploaded. So it's called Hack the Hackathon, lowercase. And you should be able to tab and it should tell you like, hey, there it is. So like, just like that.
Wait, the path of which file?
The files that you uploaded, the JSON file.
That JSON credentials file? Yeah. If you hit like the first few characters and hit tab, it should populate it for you, so you don't have to write all those numbers out. Yeah, so it's just the name of this file right here. So we're saying, hey OS, create a new variable called Google application credentials and make it equal this file. That's what we're doing. So for the Google Cloud, they need you to do that. Once we've done that, we're just going to hit Shift-Enter to run the cell. If anybody of you has not used Colab before, Shift-Enter runs cells. So you can do little pieces of code at a time. You don't have to write like all of it at once, which is kind of fun. So you can check certain things separately. So right now I'm going to run this file, Shift-Enter, and the 1 over there means that it's run successfully. It's the first cell we've run. Okay. How's everybody doing? Good? Okay. So the next step we're going to do is we're going to install the Google Cloud Vision Python package. Google Colab's really cool because it runs on Linux, like a Ubuntu image, that you can run Linux commands from this thing. So to do that, you need to do the little exclamation point in the front. And that'll run like a Linux command inside there. So you can do like cd or pwd, whatever, which is kind of awesome. So we're going to run that. And it's going to install. It should be all good to go. I think I installed this earlier, but you guys should have some kind of stuff. It's going to probably ask you to restart your runtime and have a little button at the bottom that says restart. Just click on that and rerun the import again.
Yeah.
So rerun the first cell.
You don't have to rerun this one. This only gets run once. I mean, you could run it again, but I don't think it makes any difference. I'll show you there.
Doing okay on time, yeah?
Yeah, you can get that. You don't have fun.
Okay, everybody got that? Downloaded that package? Restarted? Remember we rerun this, so I'm going to rerun it just for fun. So rerun that, all good? Okay. So if you scroll a little bit further down, we have how to actually use this API. So I'm going to do a little bit of code. It honestly does not need a lot. I think it's like 6 lines, which is kind of awesome after all that setup. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to read in the file. Yes, we should probably upload the image. Okay, so next thing we're going to do, remember there's 2 files that we had in that link. There was the Jupyter Notebook and an image. We're going to upload the image as well. So has everybody got that? So we're going to go Files, Upload, just the same as the other one. And I think we called it handwriting.jpg. I wrote something out earlier and took a picture. Okay, so just upload that. Cool. Everybody got it? Okay. So first thing we're going to do now is we're going to say with io.open. I'm going to say path So this path is handled like passed in through here, right? It's going to go path, and we're going to say read binary, or read bit, I think, as image file. And then we're going to say content of the file that we just read is equal to image file dot read. Cool. So all that did is open up the file we uploaded and read in the stuff into this variable called content. Right. So now the API actually asks us to run a few things. So we're going to say image equals vision dot types, and we're going to say image, and we're just going to say content equals this content variable. Cool, that's done. And next thing we're going to do is, now this is actually taking the image that we just created, send it to the API, and get a response back. So we're going to say our response is equal to client dot document underscore text detection and image equals image. Because we made this image right here, we're now going to pass it as a variable to this function right here. And if everything works and all that setup worked, we should be able just to run this. So I'm going to run this function. Yep, good to go. I'll keep it there for just a second while everybody's typing that out. It's only those 3 lines underneath the comments there. Okay, cool. Everybody doing okay? Yeah? Okay, so now we're going to run it. So we're going to call that function we just had. It was detect document. And we're just going to give it the path of our image that we just downloaded, which I think we called handwriting. Let's see. Yeah, handwriting. So we're going to give it the path of this.
What's your relatives?
Just like that. And we should be able to run this, and we should get our JSON response back if everything worked out okay, hopefully. All right. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, so this is the response that our API gives us. So I'm going to show you the image, and we can kind of compare and see how we did. Okay, everybody got this last little line? You're just calling the function we just built. So call the function and then give it the path of the image that it's going to use, right? Okay, so our image looked like this. So it says hack the hackathon at the top in my horrible handwriting, and it says, but can you do it in 1 line? And then AI at UCI. Okay? So we can see here how it's coming back to us. It's saying, it's giving us like a block, and it says the first word is hack, which is pretty good, and says that it has like for each symbol in there with a confidence level of how confident it was that it actually pulled that word out. We've got the next line, hack the, yeah, pretty good, hackathon, got that whole thing, which is kind of nice. It somehow found a symbol, which I did not put in there. It got but that, sure, AL, sure. Can you do it in 1 ale?
Oh, that's for the AI.
Oh yeah, it kind of skipped over line and AI and turned my like little at symbol into an E.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't look like an E.
Yeah, but it got UCI, so yay. But yeah, so you can, this is kind of a cool API to use. So I know that one of our ideas was if you wanted to like take notes of a board, you could just take snap pictures of a board and it would pull all the text out and you can use it for whatever. So that's like that was one of the things we used this for. But it's actually not bad. It actually got some good confidence in some of the stuff. I have no idea where it got this dash from, but yeah.
Just dash it right through.
So API number 1, sorry that took so long. The API, the Google setup is terrible, but it's actually kind of cool once you get it working. And for 6 lines of code, that's not bad. Like having to write this, a machine learning model would take months. So not bad for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
All right.
Looking good. Thanks, Jason.
Yeah.
I'll try to step in here. I don't think this one will take that long because it's actually pretty simple to set up. But let's see. So the other thing we're going to go over is how to. Well, I don't think we really need to go much because this is going to be. Oh yeah, never mind. So we're going to be making a chatbot. This one trains really simply because you give it examples. Yeah. Do you have one question?
I'm getting an error for the one before.
Okay. He'll take care of that. So this one you should be able to log in with GitHub or Facebook. I recommend GitHub. That's just what I did, so it should work pretty smoothly. I'm going to be following along with the quick start guide and the documents. So if you get lost or you want to go ahead, just go there. That should have everything that I'm going to cover. The other thing is we will be creating a new app. So if you go to this thing here, once you sign in, I don't think it'll allow you to do it before you sign in. So you got to say, I got to access this page. So let me see. Let's see. But basically, you'll be able to find anything from this page here. So if you don't quite get every link on that page, that's fine. I'm going to try to pick up the pace here a little bit. But I'm going to log in with my GitHub here. So let me see. So it should sign me in. Okay. So let me see. So once you've logged in, it should look like this. If you have no apps, won't be anything here. But this is the main page. This is just my page here. If you go to Docs, we'll open up a new tag here. And we're going to be using the Quick Start Guide. So this is going to look like this. Once you've signed in or signed up with GitHub, it should take you, I believe, back to this Create App page. But if you don't see it, there's a little plus at the top. Whoops. Right here. That's what I'm going to use to create a new app. So like this. I'm going to call this one, let's try temperature getter, or something like that. So this one I'm just going to go straight up with the base document guide. You can try something else if you want. It's pretty straightforward to go with. But let's see. So I'm just going to have mine be open. That's fine. You can add an optional description if you want. I'm just going to say create app. And it's creating an instance. So once it's done, it should take me directly into the next part of the tutorial. Let's see here. Oh, I might have to zoom out a little bit. Close this. Okay. So basically how this works, let me just do this here. So as we see this, we've already created our new app. What we're going to be doing is detecting some kind of entity. In this case, we're going to be detecting stuff about temperature, right? So it's going to be seeing how different ways we can ask for temperature. What's the temperature? Can I set the temperature? What I'm going to be doing with that entity there, right? So we want to be able to detect what our users are saying about that. So we got to give it some examples, right? So in this case, I'm just going to copy the example that they gave us here. Whoops. I did not know how to copy on Mac. All right. So we're going to be teaching Wit that the sentence as a whole is about getting the office temperature, or whatever temperature that you're in. Right? So you're going to use a trait entity. So once you go back to the project you're in, so this mine was called temperature getter, yours could be something else. You're going to be typing in this little box here underneath the Mr. Pusheen cat there. You're going to be training it by adding examples. Okay. Here, so if I add this, it doesn't have any entities added already, so it's not going to auto-detect yet. I have to add one, right? So I'm going to be adding here. Once I click here, I'm going to click an intent, right? Now there are no values here. I'm going to be adding one. I'm going to call this one get temperature. I'm going to be creating that new value. Click that. And I'm just going to click validate, right? So that's just validating that my example is an example of this intent, right? The get temperature intent. And it's created that as well. So now the next thing we could do is, I believe we're just going to be improving the detection by adding more examples. So in this case, I'm just going to copy their example straight up, because I'm not very creative right now. So I'm going to be plugging this in exactly as you see it. Now you could be thinking of, I had previously tried to do a chatbot that would be detecting like when I wanted to get like a joke or something like that. Tell me a joke or something funny, make me laugh, stuff like that. You can give examples of that as well. And that was actually working pretty well up to a point. So this one actually does say it has some confidence right now. This could be because it's like the given example, but I'm just going to validate that one as well. And I'm going to do another one. Is it me or is it hot in here? I'm going to copy that, plug that straight in. Does anybody have any questions up to this point? It's relatively straightforward, but if I lost anyone with the steps.
What's the current temperature? What's the temperature inside? Are those both using the same declared intent?
Yes, so these automatically popped up once I added the first one. I think that's probably because they've seen this a lot, maybe. But if you're trying a custom entity, you might have to like add the intent back in. It's like, okay, is this an example of joke or something like that, where you'd have to add plus, like add a new entity, say like intent, and then from the drop down select the entity you'd made already. So mine is called get temperature, but if yours was like
Temperature get.
yeah, or something like that, you just select that one, and you're just going to validate that as well. Now the other thing they say, the more examples you give it, obviously the better it's going to be. In this case, I'm just going to stick with the 3, since this is kind of like a blitz tutorial here. But we can also query our app once you feel like you've given it enough examples of what you want it to be giving you information about. So if you go back to your app here, so you can see it's using one entity, we can go to the settings menu. So just on the top right, over there, it's going to say settings. I'm going to click this. At the top here, it's going to say type something to curl. So what this is going to allow us to do is to actually query our app here. So I'm going to copy their example. So what's the temperature in there? Like this. So I'm going to go back to the curl menu here. Paste it in. So what's the temperature in there? As you can see, it generated a command for me to run in my terminal. So I'm going to click copy this to clipboard. And I'm going to open a terminal here. And I'm going to run this. And if you don't have curl, Adriels, you might have to install that. Hopefully this has curl. And I got a response back in JSON format, right? So this one says, whoops, should say intent confidence 1. It's insanely confident right now because I don't have any other examples of things. But yeah.
Wait, curl needs to be downloaded beforehand, right?
If you're on like Windows, possibly. Linux also maybe possibly, but that's just an apt get install away. So you can like apt get install curl.
Windows you can't use curl.
Windows you can't use curl?
No, you have to go download it.
Okay.
We have the Python code, so you can do it from there.
Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, you could also curl from the Python notebook.
Yeah, you could do it from the Python notebook if you
I didn't
wanted.
think about that.
Just put the dash going in front.
Let's take a step back.
Sure.
So 2 steps ago, we took what's the temperature in there? We went to the settings. We pasted it in this this curl
Yep.
text box.
Mm-hmm.
Then we open the terminal.
Yeah.
For those using Linux-based operating system. Then what?
So what this does is it actually hit the endpoint for your chatbot. So the API is actually querying that to get back some kind of response for the model that you trained, right? So in this case, it said, if I go back to the terminal, it said, here's the text that you sent it, right? It's detecting the entity of get temperature, right? So the value of get temperature is in there. The confidence is 1. You have some message ID and stuff like that. Obviously, I could probably send it anything at this point, and it might detect that it's temperature related. But I'm going to get to improving that in just a second. The other thing it wanted me to try out, and this is kind of emphasize that fact here. So I could do the set temperature to 70 degrees. Obviously, this is slightly different, a slightly different query. Let me regenerate that curl command as well. So I go back here and paste it in. This is just making another curl command for me to run. I could also run this in the Python notebook. In fact, I could try it. Let me just try it. So let me go here, the bottom. Oops.
Sorry, you're also posting the slides.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
We
I
got
have a
it.
class to go to.
Yeah, you could, dude. Have fun.
So let me
Each of the curl
try this.
Should work. There we
it
go.
does work. That's a little bit kind of gross to display in here. But obviously I wanted to set something to 70 degrees. I didn't want it to say get temperature with a confidence of 1. So obviously there's some things I got to fiddle with, right, in the settings. So obviously say I should be satisfied with these results. So I want to actually set the temperature and not get it. So I'm going to have to add a new entity value. So I'm going to go to the inbox tab. I'm going back to my project, right where I had the settings and getting the curl stuff here. What I'm going to do is go to inbox. Now there's this little inbox guy here, this kind of horrifying thing, but so this one say what's the temperature in here. Obviously this was correct. I can validate this. This is obviously the results of the queries you were sending, the curl command. So I'm just going to validate that real quick. Now I don't want to validate this one because this was incorrect. I want to actually change something with this. So what I want to do is type a new value instead of get temperature. I'm going to go down here. It obviously is still an intent, but I'm going to say set temperature. I'm going to create the new value. I don't actually want to hit validate yet. I think it wants me to go and make... Yeah, I don't actually know why they have us do that stuff. That actually might do nothing. I know that we just don't want to validate it currently. We may have already made this value, but I'm going to go back to understanding. You can validate the one that had previously, that was okay, the one that was actually getting a temperature value.
Quick question, how did you format the curl into the collab?
Yeah, so I just pasted it, but before I just put a little exclamation point. So that allows you to run it as just a regular bash command. Alright,
What
excuse me.
programming language is this? Is this like Java or C++?
Curl? Are you asking about the curl command?
What is with
command it's a library.
AI?
Yeah, so what is just in this case it's just like a library. It's kind of just abstracted away. I'm not exactly sure how they coded like their models and stuff, but let me go to understanding here. So what we're going to do from understanding is add the ability to select temperature. Sorry, I should not have gone to understanding. Stay in your inbox. Oh, it was misguided. So I'm going to add a new entity here. There are a bunch of pre-generated entities, things that are commonly seen. So these are well trained for you, so you don't have to give it a lot of examples. Obviously, your time is very valuable in a hackathon, so you want to make sure that everything is kind of ready and set to go. At the bottom here, there's a wit temperature thing. Anything that's pre-generated has a wit in front of it. So it's like wit slash, you could even do sentiment. There's a bunch of other things you could have, like thanks or URL, volume, stuff like that. You can search Wikipedia. Some of these are just kind of readily available for you. I'm going to click temperature. Now it said, please highlight the relevant part of the sentence. So in this case, I'm going to just click and drag. Now it says wit temperature is 70 degrees. I'm going to click this, the little circle to the left of it. Set a roll. Let me see. I have to add this back in. Temperature. Okay, cool. And that should be, I guess, good. If I click validate, hopefully it will show up like that. Now it says say your inbox is empty unless you were to send it more commands. So if you go back to understanding, you can give it more examples of that. So let's say turn up to, I don't know, 80 degrees, or 80F is actually also one that can work. So that's correct. But I also want to say, let me add the new entity for set. Add that back in. So set temperature. So let's say turn up the heat to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to validate that. And then just to make it easy on it, so set temp to 30C. Right, so I could do that. And this one is getting a little bit more confident with itself for setting temperature, so I'm going to validate that. And that should at least take care of the beginning parts of just getting and setting stuff. So from this point forward, we're going to actually see how we could query that in like Python. So I'm going to go back to Colab here. We will have to go back and get the API key in a second. But let me just delete this. It's not necessary anymore. So to install the wit Python client, they've already made it pretty easy for you. Just pip install wit. I'm going to shift return that. It should do that for you. And then we're going to want to import the wit client. So from wit, import capital wit. Don't know why they did that, but sure. Now we have to set our access token. So what we need to do is first copy that. So go back to your project here and go back to settings. Now you're going to want to click on your server access token and copy that. That's going to allow you to query your app directly. So we're going to copy that, and that's right over here, server access token. I mean, you could use mine if you like. I'm not obviously paying for this, but ideally you make your own instance, and you can just copy that and go back to your Colab. I'm going to just say access, this sort of token. And then you want to paste it as a string, just like that. Right, and then to just query that, I am going to write these 2 lines. These should already be written. So it says client equals wit, access token, you set it up, and then you can just message it directly. So let's see if that worked. That was pretty quick, right? So it says, this one is pretty confident about setting temperature, so like 98% confident, and it inferred the value from that as well. So if I just do 75F, so it says unit is Fahrenheit, value 75. Right, so it's pretty easy to set up. There are other things like sentiment analysis that you could run on that, and also I think there's a couple other ones. You could have it search things for you on Wikipedia. But that was that one. Yeah.
Going up a little bit.
Yeah. What do you want to see?
Going
the
down. Going down.
Like right here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll leave this up for a second.
What is the point when you process that token?
The access token, it's basically a unique like key that you can actually connect to your model or like your
Data set.
What's that?
You mean the data set?
It's not really a data set. It's the thing that you train, right? Like the model that you were training. Right? In my case, mine was just a temperature getter and setter in this case, right? So once I trained this, I have the ability to query it. As you can see in my inbox, it should actually have gotten that query, right? And it was pretty clear on this. It'll return what it thinks you want from it, and that's pretty much it. If you change the key, obviously it probably won't work if you just change random numbers, but you could get somebody else's if they had some other model, but it may not work with exactly what you're looking for.
So basically, this platform is just provide some pre-trained model, and we just like modify a little bit. And
Some parts are pre-trained, like the temperature part is kind of like already set up to actually grab different units and stuff, but the idea is like the set temperature and get temperature thing, that was not really pre-trained. Like we had to kind of give it some examples of what that intent was. So as I mentioned previously, there's one where you could just like say, oh, do you want me to tell you a joke or something like that? So you would have to train it on some examples of like, oh, make me laugh, something like that. Grab parts of that and just kind of train it. You can mess with it a little bit. It's actually pretty easy to mess around with. But yeah, are we going over? I forget how long this is.
No,
for.
we're good.
We're good? Okay, cool. So we can, I believe, go on to the next one. Does anyone have any other questions about the WIT AI setup or things like that? Yeah.
So this app that we just built,
Mm-hmm.
I take it that all we're doing is configuring getters and setters for an existing library. It didn't seem like we were doing very much low level stuff.
Yeah, so this one is very supposed to be very quick. It's not low level for this one. If you wanted to, and if you wanted your app to be completely yours, if you want to have complete control over exactly how you want to control it or exactly how you want to be able to get the data from it, like you would probably want to set that up yourself, train your own model. In this case, for a hackathon, usually you want to like proof of concept like this, like 30 minutes max, stuff like that, so you can work on other parts. You don't want to have to hang up on stuff like this if you don't have to, unless that's a key part of your project. If it's a key part of your project, like doing it yourself, then yeah, make that a key part of your project by doing this.
What else can you do with this?
What else can you do this? There's like a bunch of recipes here. So you could say you could extract things that are like substrings. Let me see if there's another example. You can also integrate directly with Facebook Messenger, which I thought was kind of cool. I didn't have time to look into that too much, but you could make this as just a bot on Facebook Messenger that you could talk to. Like I said, you could do sentiment analysis. You might be able to modify some kind of tweet getter or bot that you could set yourself. Usually TweetPy, and there's a bunch of different libraries that you can get tweets from. So you could send that and send it directly to this if you want to. If you don't want to go through the nitty-gritty details of training sentiment analysis. I know Jason and I have done that, so it can be a little bit tricky. But you can extract locations. Let's see what else. There's also a good like explanation of what entities are and stuff like that that really would kind of take your usage of WIT to the next level, but I just didn't want to pour a ton of time into this as we were trying to crank out stuff like that. I just did a very basic understanding of what this is, but you can understand like location from just like simple words like this. I want to go from here to here, and maybe it could make some kind of maps query for you, like telling you how long will this take, stuff like that. It'll allow you to build a kind of simplified version of like Google Home or something like that, possibly. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and go to the next part. Let's see here. I already showed that. So this one's going to be kind of like a face and the face detection and like emotion detection. It can also pull like age, or it tries to pull age and gender out of photographs. And this one's actually even easier to set up. This one is just an API call to Microsoft Azure. Now, like we said, we already have this link up, but we'll leave it up there for just a second. You're going to be going to here and signing up. I think, did you use GitHub to sign up, or did you use
I use GitHub. I would use GitHub because it's good to have on your GitHub account that you have, Azure experience. You can use that for job interviews on your resume and anything like that. Yeah, this one's super easy to set up. It takes like 3 seconds. Yeah, so just click on that try computer vision. Yeah.
I'm going to try the 7-day trial.
Yeah.
Get started. Click I agree. Do you want me to go ahead and sign up for it?
Yeah, I mean, just use my GitHub.
You want me to use yours? I could do mine, but this would take a lot longer to. Use mine.
Yeah,
fine. Okay. So I'm just going to sign in with my GitHub. Teresa is going to say OK. Authorize Azure. Not like Microsoft doesn't know anything about my GitHub, seeing as they own it. Okay, so that says thank you for trying for free for 7 days. I got it.
Do they charge you after 7 days?
They don't have my credit card, so.
Okay. If you click on, I would say when you sign up, you get 12 months free.
Yeah, that's how they do charge you. So
Yeah,
get out of that one.
I wouldn't do that one.
Just do the guest one.
Unless you want to. I'm not gonna say you can't do it,
but Azure is pure pain. So just
this is the closest I've come to liking Azure ever. So
yeah,
the closest you'll get to a glowing endorsement from me. Once we have this, we're going to be using the computer vision API key that we have here. We're going to be using. Should I go straight into code for this?
Yeah. How's everybody doing? Everybody got to that point?
Need more time?
Yeah, everybody
Pretty
okay?
much just sign up with the GitHub. So
yeah, it's like 2 clicks.
I'm going to copy this first key so I have it. So key 1, I'm just going to highlight it, command copy that, okay, or control copy, depending on. I'm going to go back to our notebook, go back to the face detection part. So this is where it says get your subscription key, right? So you want to make sure that we hold that in this variable. So subscription key equals, and again, store it in a string. Just like that. Great. Now we already included the URL of the API because that doesn't change. Like Jason was saying with REST APIs, it's this one link and everybody can hit it. It doesn't depend on what it is and it doesn't affect other people's stuff. So once we have this is kind of the fun part. You can choose a picture that has a face in it or multiple faces and see what you get. In my case, I'm going to look up some happy, sad faces.
Some of these are really creepy.
And copy and pasted the first key one, right?
Yeah, key 1. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, maybe it was like this. I remember getting different results.
I think so.
Yeah, of course.
Human faces. Let's try that. Okay, this is what I was looking for. So if you type in happy, sad, human faces, this one was a good example. You could also just type in regular one. Actually, this one's really creepy. I'm not sure what it would do for that. But I'm just going to click, or let's do option click. I'm going to copy the image address, like that. And I'm going to go back to here and just say image URL equals, and paste that link right in there. That's an incredibly long link. I think I probably copied it the wrong way. Let me go back and just do this correctly. Okay. Copy link address. Google is ridiculous like that sometimes. Okay, never mind, it is like that. All right, so once I have an image URL, you don't have to use this one. I just thought it's a good example of the range that it can get. We're going to be adding headers to the request. So this is just giving you, you have to make sure that the subscription key is in there. You can even do assert subscription just to make sure that you have it in there. But that should be fine. Actually, that's really not necessary, but it was in our code. So this is going to be asking for what exactly you want from the API. So if you were to read more of the documentation, you could add other different parts to it. In this case, we're going to be getting the face ID, face like landmarks, and attributes. So these are the attributes that we're going to be getting. Actually, we don't want face landmarks. That's why it's false. We want age, gender, smile, facial hair, glasses, emotion, makeup, stuff like that, and how blurry or noisy the photo is. You can specify. There might be some more that we're not using, but that's probably a good range. And now we're doing the actual post request. I don't think there's anything to add in here. So you're going to post. This is kind of abstracted away the actual post request, but it's basically going to be hitting this endpoint that we set up here, the Face API URL, and what parameters we want. As you can see, it's a JSON list here. And our headers, just one thing here, making sure that we have the key. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to work. Obviously, they charge for this, so got to make money somehow. And this is the URL of the image that we're actually going to be processing. So that should all be in there. And then you should be able to just run it, and it'll print the response to us. So this one says access denied due to invalid subscription key. So it's possible that I copied the wrong one or mine's not active. Let me see here. Go back here. Jason, did you have to activate your account?
No, should be good.
And it's key 1, right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Does it give you crap?
Yep. Oh, maybe I just didn't run it. No. It says invalid subscription key.
Oh, try
I could try yours, but
try face.
what?
Yeah, no problem.
Let me try key 2 just in case.
Yeah, try key 2.
Or otherwise, I'll just type in yours.
It might be face, to be honest.
Face?
Yeah, instead of computer vision, it might be face.
What are you talking about? I've changed nothing else.
Oh yeah, it's face. So I don't think it was.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, you see.
Go back. Oh, overview. Yeah, it was not computer vision. It was face.
Where is that then?
Go back. All the way.
So it's the same thing, but we're going to do try face for free.
Yeah.
Right?
What's
Try
face?
computer vision API.
That's what I clicked on.
Oh, that's what it was, huh?
Is it face instead of computer vision?
Yeah, try that one.
Is that an input? Oh, cool.
And then is it key 1 from face?
Yeah, key 1
Yeah.
from face.
So instead of cognitive service, yeah, it's not cognitive service. It should just be /face, I guess. So face here. My face, get started. It's a little odd, but sure.
Sorry guys, the first time I did that it was totally fine, and then of course...
You got it? Awesome. So now for face, I'm just going to copy this. Key 1. Go back to my point in the Jupyter notebook. or collab. Try that. Invalid image, decoding error, unsupported. Cool. Let me find another image. We'll do the creepy one since it's been calling out to me all day. Copy link address. Let's see what happens here. Oof. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think it's copy link address, it might be image address.
Oh, you're right. Oops. That is correct. Thank you. That'll probably work. Awesome. All right. So, kind of a lot of JSON here, but let's see what it says. So, for one of them, it says it's guessing age 58, probably because of all the makeup on this guy. I think who knows, he might be 58. So no glasses, at least got that. Beard, sideburns, some stuff here. Disgust, fear, contempt. It's really not sure. Sadness. Okay, it's probably the one on the right. Yeah, it's probably the one on the right. So surprise is 0. Let's see if he says he's bald. Wow, he doesn't say he's bald. Awesome. Says I'm more bald than this guy. That's cool. And then the other one should say probably, yeah, so this one says smile. Let's see, does it say happiness for this guy? Yeah, this one says he's mostly happy. 0.025% surprised. Highly accurate. Let's see. No eye makeup. Interesting. Although it does have lip makeup, which is, I think, true. Possibly. I don't know.
Should our results be the same?
If it's the same picture,
if it's the same picture?
If I'm using the same exact picture, and then yours said I make up false.
Well, for the second one. So, down. Now I lost where it is.
Are these two separate? Like,
Two
So
faces,
there's
yeah.
2 faces, so we did both of them.
Dictionaries for each face.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's one here.
See that face ID? There should be 2 of them.
And it also gives you the actual location, so it says like top 116 left, right? And the width and height of how big it expects that to be. I could also do this one now since I know what the problem was. Copy image address. Well, I did copy image. And go back in here. This one should give me 3 things, and it's actually very sure about what the different emotions are for this one. At least it was when I tried the wrong one.
Yeah.
Let's try that one. Should give me back 3 things in there. Okay. So for this one, it says, and the thing is, it's not really left to right order. It kind of it will return in any which way because it is JSON. But this one's the neutral one, the one in the middle. This one doesn't really have much there. It's just kind of sitting there looking at the camera. And the other one is, let's see which one this one is. Scroll down here. So this one was the smile. I can't see, yeah. Very confident about the smile. Happiness is a complete 1. It didn't really detect anything else about that one. There's one that's also sad. Yeah, sadness at 1.0. So it does make pretty bold predictions when it thinks it's correct. Which could be good, could be bad.
Do we have a way of... This data is very dense. Do we have a way of pre-printing?
Oh yeah, this actually is.
That is pretty
But this is printing everything.
Yeah.
So we could probably, so if it's data, this is the response, right? So
You can store the dude, yeah.
yeah, so was the JSON stored though?
Should be. You might want to put it in something different, yeah.
I could try to print just part of it. So if I want 0 and like, let's see, what do I want? Hair, would that work? So
Sure.
and then I think, oof.
So this is like the first element of the JSON array, and then we're going to get the hair key.
I don't know if this will work. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Probably going to complain about something. Yeah. I could see what data 0 is. guess it's Face ID. Okay, face attributes. That's weird. You think that would?
Oh, it's facial. Oh no.
Glasses, maybe. Glasses word.
But yeah, this is JSON gets nasty sometimes, having to pass through it all. But you just kind of have to check what the keys are and cycle through them and check, because they can be like inside each other. Like there's one like dictionary inside a dictionary inside a dictionary, so you're gonna have to like go through it. It's kind of a pain, but it's better than XML. Trust me.
You could do for keys and data 0.
Did everybody get stuck on that face part? I know that like the Google, Microsoft gets kind of annoying sometimes, taking you different links on different things.
Oh yeah, this one only had face rectangle. Oh, that would make sense. Okay. Yeah. But does anybody have any other questions? Pretty much gotten through all of our APIs here. Yeah.
So could you go up a little?
Yeah. How far up?
Here.
Okay.
Here. So that's the all of the characteristic interface for the face I can input the parameters.
For the face attributes, we could probably
That's
go to.
all of them.
This is literally all of them.
Yeah, I got all of them.
Okay. So this is all of the ones that are available from Azure's
more
face detect.
interesting, like you can tell the people are they criminal or not.
Ooh, that
Oh.
would.
Oh, you're looking at like ethics there, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's
How
like,
confident you are
Yeah.
to tell me.
Hook up with a FBI like database of like,
yeah, I
known-
feel like you could do that. Good luck, but I mean, if you're categorizing people as criminals, they might have an
I don't
issue
know if
with
you want.
that.
I'm not sure if you want to make like a well available bounty hunter app that'll just like Face ID. That might be a problem. You might get banned from the app store from that one. But
Training bias.
yeah, just distribute the freaking file for that one. I don't know.
But yeah, that's mostly it for today, guys. I know that setup took a while, but these are some really cool APIs to use at your next hackathon. I mean, you can make a chatbot pretty much using that with AI. Use one of Google Cloud's speech to text, and then take it on from there. So there's a lot of cool things you can do with this. So we'll be sticking around if you guys have any questions. But thanks for coming through. Yay.
Yeah.